Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, subscribers, viewers, and all supporters of this channel. I'm back here again. Now, ISO 14001 version 2015. What is it? It's an international recognized standard for environmental management system. How is it being defined? It is a management system that manages environmental aspects. How? By fulfilling compliance obligation and addressing risk and opportunities. So what does it manage? Environmental aspects. What is environmental aspects? Environmental aspects is elements of our organizational processes, activities, and products based on the definition that interacts or can interact with the environment. That's definition of the environmental aspect, but from my perspective, it is anything. Substance, matter, equipment, machine, all right? Raw mats, spillage, water, liquid, gas, those forms, anything that interacts or can interact with the environment. That is environmental aspect. Okay, fine. Then how do we determine environmental aspect? This is the methodology based on mechanical engineering. Input-output analysis is based on mass balance. We are not going to do mass balance. I'm not good at it anyway, but we use the philosophy, the principles of mass balance. Anything that comes in, comes out. Input, output analysis of one process that I will take here for example. As an example is soldering. We will look into soldering. I am not the expert in soldering. You are probably, but I have a few idea and knowledge based on my years of audit in various industries. Soldering is one of the processes that I've given some attention. So I know a little bit about soldering. We'll discuss about that. Before we go on, I implore my fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, please do not watch this video if you are already in a mosque for the Friday prayers, khutbah, or attending any lessons in the mosque where there is scholar preaching and teaching. Thank you very much for your cooperation. I love you so much. I wish you Jannatun Na'im. All right. Now, I'm going to show you this process, input output analysis. Where does it fit in the chronology of implementation of environmental management system? There are many steps, sequence of process. Where does it fit in? That's one thing I will do for you today, this video. And then we'll take a look at one example of the input-output analysis from this process, whereby that will enable us to identify what are environmental aspects from this process. Input-output analysis, okay? And then I will show you last but not least the tabulated display of how you would arrange what we call aspects impact register in what I call a dashboard for your ISO 14001 version 2015. Let's take a look at where this input and output process of identifying environmental aspects is in the sequence of the establishment of ISO 14001. There you are. That is where we are. I will show you right now. Here we are. The process of identifying environmental aspect is here. Meaning, as far as environmental management physical per se is concerned, The identification of environmental aspects is the first step. In other words, if you are going to adopt or establish or construct an environmental management system based on ISO 14001 version 2015, the first step you got to do is to identify all your environmental aspects from all your processes, from all departments which is within your organizational certification scope for the ISO 14001. That's the first thing. Once we have identified all the environmental aspects from our entire organization, we will have to evaluate them because we need to determine what sort of environmental aspects, what severity, what degree, or what significance of environmental impact that these environmental aspects causes. So it is called aspects impact evaluation. Okay, and once we have that, we will construct. Once we know that all the environmental aspects are covered and their respective potential environmental impact has been identified, then we will sum them up in a tabulated form called aspects impact register. This is what we're going to do. And based on the new definition of Environmental Management System 14001, we are going to include this. Look, in here. I will show you how it's done in the table at the end of this video. Okay, we have now, this is a tedious work, you know. Me and my team of 7 people in those days when we started off, took us 3 months on a daily basis for that particular company to establish aspects impact register, and we do it meticulously detailed. We don't miss a thing, okay? And after we have the aspects impact register, we now know all the processes involved in our organization. Top management, you've got to be there, steering committee, EMR, look at all this, and then you have all their respective environmental aspects listed accordingly, nicely in sequence of process or in sequence of process flowchart, whichever is applicable to you. The standard is quiet about how you do it. Once you have this register, you now know your position as far as your environmental commitment is concerned, as far as your environmental due diligence is concerned, as far as your environment in practice is concerned. With that, we will develop the policy. Based on that, we develop a policy so that our organization is working towards managing those environmental concerns that is related to us, not environmental concerns which are related to some other types of factory, because I've seen a few cases, for example, a palm oil mill factory having a policy that sounds like a semiconductor factory. No cut and paste, please. Okay, so and from here we will develop objectives and targets. Do not change the word objective and targets. Do not change the word environmental management program. The standard doesn't say you got to change this. No, stay. The standard says these are constituting to the intended outcome. Never mind, let it be, as long as I will show you. And then once you've got your objectives and target, what we do is we devise or promulgate our environmental management program. What to do, who do what, when, how, resources, could be finance, could be monetary, could be reward, could be investment in equipment, etc. Right? That is environmental management program. And all this must amount to what the standard stipulated as intended outcome, whereby the standard has specified the intended outcome must consist of enhancement of environmental performance. Where does it fit in? EMP. Fulfillment of compliance obligation. Where does it fit in? EMP. Objective. In fact, enhancements of environmental performance will later be translated into operational control. And achievement of environmental objectives. Where does it fit in? Environmental management program. So why do we have to change objective targets and EMP to planning actions to achieve? No, it is a holistic word. Planning action to achieve constitute of objectives, constitutes of target. Don't change a word. It's just a philosophy by the standard to emphasize on you got to get where you want to get. Achieving. Okay, so that's about it. I hope that's understandable. All right, now let's take a look at the input output analysis. Now I have a simple process which is hardly found now in Malaysia. This picture was taken in the late 90s. Yeah. This is called the input-output analysis. Why do we do this? Because we want to identify environmental aspects and their respective associated probable environmental impact. Why do we have to do that? Because environmental management system is managing environmental aspects, and we have got to determine which environmental impact is more significant. Okay, now let's take a look. I believe you know these are all environmental aspects in yellow highlight. These are items, matters, substance that interacts and can interact with the environment. That is why they are called environmental aspects. Let me prove to you. For example, solder is a raw mat. Okay, it's a material that gets into this process as input. And what goes out of this process, then one example is solder dross. It's being released from this process. Now let's take a look at solder. Solder is an input environmental aspect. So how does it interact with the environment? We got to look at its life cycle perspective. In what direction? Upstream. Why? Because we want to know where it comes from. That is upstream. That is the meaning of input, the application. So solder is made from what? Metal. Metal smelter. And then from metal ingots and from various types of alloy, a mixture of certain metal materials. Okay, you know better than I do. I'm not a metallurgist. Okay, please seek their opinion, and also please ask your respective consultant and trainer to help you and guide you. Do some research for you. So solder interacts with the environment by virtue of how it is being manufactured. Along the way, as you know, metal smelting interact with the environment, causing air pollution, right? Mining interact with the environment to cause air pollution, also water pollution, right, etc., soil pollution, etc., etc. Numerous. Eventually, the mining is talking about extracting natural resources. And finally, at this point, the more demand for solder, the more extraction of natural resources. Therefore, the ultimate environmental impact as believed by environmental management is resource depletion. That's the upper end of the life cycle perspective of solder. Can we control? No. Can we influence? Yes. How? we need to have a very optimized usage of this material, solder. So we need to have an operational control for solder purchase and solder utilization. Less wastage that will have an impact whereby less amount of solder is needed. So less demand for natural resources. That's the best we can do. Now, on the other hand, solder draws is another environmental aspect, but it is an output environmental aspect. So what sort of impact does solder draws bring about? We got to look at the life cycle perspective downstream then. There you are. In other words, what happens to solder draws? Solder draws, as far as I know, in this country, it is being recycled. It goes to a recycler that recycle solder draws in one way or another, getting back some metal, getting back some solder, some types of metal. It could be zinc, it could be, I'm not sure, there are a few constituents now, and it is being recycled and brought back into industrial processes. On top of that, that recycling facility has got some slags, some other kinds of ash scales, and that would be sent to some types of secure landfill because it could be schedule risk, and that would cause soil contamination. So that is one explanation how solder draws interact with the environment to cause soil contamination, but also conserve resources. It's a plus point. Okay, so you can think about the rest, and maybe you like to give your answer in the comments below, and do interact with other people who would be experts in this. I'm not the expert in soldering. I learned from these people, and there are a few other aspects. Think about it. Now, let's go to the dashboard as I promised. Once those environmental aspects have been identified and their associated environmental impact has also been identified, here we are, the table. This is the dashboard. Not for a Bugatti Veyron or a BMW S1000RR, but this is for our environmental management system. What have we here? Simple. This is a column for all the activities and processes. Okay, there you are. And we have got a column for environmental aspects. So these are all our environmental aspects, and the process is soldering. Okay, and these are all the environmental aspects. Fugitive fumes, solder draws, electrical energy, and it causes, it has been identified to cause this sort of impact, respectively: air pollution for fugitive fumes, solder draws causes soil pollution, electrical energy input is causing resource depletion. And we have here the aspects: impact, evaluation. So we have criteria and rating, which is in another appendix, and for each of these criteria, like magnitude, there you are, there is a criteria for it. So we've got magnitude, severity, legal, business, etc. You can add on, and we have a score system to determine in numeric form how much they score. The higher the score for this particular type of calculation, you can say, or formula, the higher the score is a higher significance. Okay, and not forgetting, we have included risk and opportunity in this dashboard to conform to ISO 14001 version 2015. And also we have included a column on environmental performance, whereby we have the various performance indicator like management performance indicator, operational performance indicator, and environmental conditions indicator. amounting to the final environmental performance evaluation, another numerical scoreboard, you may say that. And from the risk and opportunities, then we will design what are our objectives and targets. And this constitutes to planning actions to achieve, which is EMP, this one. Don't have to change the word EMP. All right, don't have to change the word objective and target just because ISO come up with a philosophic phrase like planning actions to achieve it. You don't have to change anything. Okay, and auditors use your brain. Think about it. This is linguistic. Okay, it has a very good meaning and application. We don't use word by word as long as it amounts to that. I have a problem with that in Malaysia. Some auditors want those words in the standards to be in the manual, in the procedure. It's the understanding, not parroting. Okay, so no offense, please. Thank you very much, YouTube. Thank you very much, subscribers, viewers, and comments in this and followers of this channel. Um, Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen. It's been a long time I've not spoken language. So, as a Malay Muslim in Malaysia, I wish everybody in bahasa Melayu semoga dikurniakan kesenangan, keselamatan, kesejahteraan, dan kebahagiaan kehidupan di dunia dan di akhirat. Until we meet in the next video, I wish everybody, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever your faith is, whatever color have you, this wish. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much.